Hi, I'm Anne from Game Like a Mother. I specialize in games that can be played in 20 minutes or less, and this is my 2023 version of my list, which is top 10 games for any kid. I totally get how you can have a situation where you want to give a gift that is a game to a child, but you just don't know what they like. The games on this list should work for any kid as long as they're the right age level for the game, and I have games from ages as young as 2 through teenage and beyond, so you should be set no matter what. Let's get started. First up, we have Mantis, which works for pretty much all ages. We've played this with my youngest daughter, who's 4, and she's okay, she can hang in there, but older kids, teenagers, adults, everybody loves this game. The goal of the game is to be the first to score 10 cards, and it's just really simple, really fast to get up and running. It's by the game publisher Exploding Kittens. Yes, that is really their name. They are named after their first game they published, which was just incredibly popular. And so now there's a whole line of games, and this is probably our go-to favorite of the bunch just because it is so simple, but fun and satisfying to play. And all you have to do on your turn is there's a card in the center that has 3 different pictures on the back of it. It could be red, pink, and orange on the back of the card. And you know the card is going to be one of those 3 colors. And you can choose to play it either on an opponent, and if you flip it out on them and it matches one of their stacks of cards, you get to collect those in front of you. But if it doesn't match, then they just get to keep that card. Or if you flip it out in front of you and it matches one of your stacks of cards, that's how you score cards, which is how you win the game. So that's it. That's all the decision making of the game, but it's so fun. There's cards moving around. People are stealing from each other, but it doesn't seem like people get too upset about that because odds are it's just going to keep on moving around some more anyway, and there's a good amount of luck involved as well. But it is a hoot to play for all ages, and it is just a go-to. Next up, we have Hurry Up Chicken Butt, which is by the same publisher as Mantis, but this is their Kittens line of game, which is geared more for preschooler age. They have taken out the explosions. It's just kittens. And Hurry Up Chicken Butt is basically a revamped, better version of Hot Potato, in which you're just trying to be the last person to do an action before the chicken timer goes off. They have this clear plastic chicken with a die inside, and to play the game, you push a button and it basically starts the timer, and there's this gentle clucking noise that starts happening. It's not too loud, and you roll the die and you have to perform an action based on whatever color you've rolled because there's some cards in front of you. So you might have to do your ABCs, or you might have to walk around the group while waddling like a penguin, or you might roll a pink, which means that you get to go and run and slap the chicken butt card and then come back to the group and then pass the chicken along. And it just, kids go nuts over this. This is one that my 4-year-old can play, and her siblings are actually happy and eager to play it with her. It's one that you can play on play dates, and kids pick it up really quickly and are excited and happy to play. It's one that kids open up the box and see it, and they know they're going to be happy and excited. I don't know what it is about this board game company. They really have their finger on the pulse of what is going to be a draw and grab little kids' attention and make them happy about playing the game. And they have a few others in the series. We've also played the Best Worst Ice Cream game, which is basically like a more preschool friendly version of Mantis. There's less stealing of cards, so just makes that a little bit easier on the kids. But my kids have loved these. We've played these with friends, we've played these with extended family, and it's been a hit all around. Next up, we have Jumanji Deluxe, specifically the deluxe version of the game. And kids will enjoy this game whether they have seen the original Robin Williams movie or not. But the original movie is so good, it still holds up. So the best way to enjoy this game is to watch the movie and then get this game out, because kids lose it when you get the game out and it opens up just like the game does in the movie. And not only that, it comes alive. There's sounds, the button works in the middle, and you just feel like you are immersed in the world of Jumanji. And it is also a co-op game that I would consider more of a family experience rather than a competitive board game, because we have never lost this game. We have never even come close to losing this game. If you lose all your lives, then you lose, but you share the lives among you because you're trying to make it together. But that does not diminish the fun of the game. Every time it's your turn, you're pushing the button in the middle, and there's exciting jungle music, and you have a new riddle, and you're trying to solve the riddle, and then sometimes you have little extra activities you do based on that. Sometimes you'll push the button, and instead of a riddle, you'll have some sort of activity like a flood comes and you have to take action, or a lion is coming through and everybody has to go find a place to hide, and one person is supposed to be the lion and go and find everybody else. We had one time when we played this where there was a quicksand incident, and we had to make a makeshift rope out of somebody's sweatshirt and drag a child to safety across the hardwoods. And so it's very active, but it is just a blast. And this is where you are making memories as a family, and 100% of children enjoy this game. Next up, we have Skyjo, which is going to be your new family favorite card game, because all ages enjoy this one, especially kids, because it turns out kids really like mysteries. And a key part of this game is it is a surprise. Whenever you're flipping over cards that are face down in front of you, you're trying to have the lowest value of points at the end of a round, and now you play until somebody ends up with 100 points or more, and then whoever has the least points is the winner. But on each round, you are generally you're drawing from the discard pile, and you look at the card and you decide whether you want to discard that card or keep it and replace one of the cards in your tableau of cards in front of you with that card. So you can get where you draw like a 2 and you think, that's pretty good. I'm gonna replace one of my cards with that. So you replace one of your face down cards, and maybe you're really happy because that card was a 12. And so you discard that card. Oh, I just helped myself a lot. That was really exciting and fun. But sometimes you'll replace it and, oh, it was a -2. That was so good. And I have to swap it out. And now the next person gets that card. This type of gameplay, kids go nuts for, and they love. And it's perfect because it's one that I would play even without kids. My husband and I were playing it the other night just on our own. It was just nice, mellow, easy, relaxing. Not too difficult, but our kids just kept on and subbing in, and they would play an extra round. And so it was a nice, easy family game night. And there is a bit of strategy there because it's not just all the luck of replacing cards. You can choose if you get 3 cards in a column that are the same number, then you can discard that column. So that can be really great if you have some situation where you're like, oh, I have 2 10s in this column. Ooh, if I wait and I try to get another 10 in there, then I get to get rid of the whole column. And so then I do really well. And the person beside them is saying, ooh, now I can't give them any 10s. What am I supposed to do? So there is a little bit of strategy in there, but it's very gentle. It works for all ages. And this is one that is a family favorite that everyone will enjoy for years and years. Next up, we have Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, which if your child likes speed games, this will be their favorite speed game. I don't know what it is about this game. 100% of kids who like speed games are obsessed with this one. All you do to play the game is you say the name of the game as you play. The first person to play a card out says taco. Then the next person says cat as they flip a card out. The next person says goat, and so on until the word you're saying matches the card that you're playing out into the center, at which point everybody rushes to slap the pile of cards, and whoever is last has to collect the cards and put them in the bottom of their stack. And the goal of the game is to be the first to get rid of all of your cards. And what's nice about this game is it works well. You can play with lower player counts, like 2 or 3, but it's really fun in a group. And you have a measure of success as long as you're not always the last person to slap in. Then you feel like you're doing okay. And also, there are some really fun specialty cards. There's a narwhal, gorilla, and groundhog, and you do, if any time one of those show up, no matter what word you've said, you do a specialty action and then rush to slap. and kids just seem to think that's hilarious, and you're doing funny things as part of the game. And this game is so popular, it also has some seasonal options. So you can there's a Halloween themed version of this deck. There's like a Christmas holiday version of this deck. So we own multiple copies of this deck because our family loves it so much. It is a go-to. Next up, we have Castle Panic, which is a cooperative game in which you are working together to slay the monsters. You have goblins, orcs, trolls, all trying to storm your castle, and all you have to do is defeat them and have at least one piece of your castle remaining at the end in order to win. You get to have archers, knights, and swordsmen. The board is color-coded, so specific cards will work in specific zones, and you can do a little bit of trading cards back and forth to help your teammates out, and there are some surprise cards that will come up where like the Goblin King will come out and all of a sudden you get a bunch more monsters on your board, but maybe then you get a boulder that will take out a row of monsters, and that can be really good, but it will also take out part of your wall that is protecting the castle, and so it can be both good or bad. There are just so many great elements to this game. This is great. Both of my boys would generally, just if they could be playing video games, they would like to be playing video games, but this is so good. They really enjoyed this game, and my older daughter does not like it when she feels like she's being attacked during board games, and this is a cooperative one in which we're working together. So it just seems like this hits the sweet spot of being exciting and fun and just captures a wide range of kids, and also is fully appropriate for an adult game night. You could play this with no kids around at all, just play it for adults. So this is one you get and then you just play for years and years, especially because the base game is so good. You can play it on repeat, no changes, and have a great time for ages and ages. But they have a lot of expansions available, and there are alternate rules if you want to try different kinds of challenges as you play. And there's even, if this sounds great, but your child's a little bit young for it, they have my first Castle Panic, which we own and love, and is spot on for around ages 4 and up. And it gives you the feel of battling monsters and the same kind of gameplay, and it's still cooperative, but it's just streamlined and simpler for younger audience. So pick your Castle Panic that works for you. They are fantastic. Next up, we have MicroMacro Crime City, which is Where's Waldo plus crime. And this is the game on this list that I would be the most cautious when it comes to the age of the child when you play, because there are crimes that you are solving as part of this game. There is murder, there are some adult sort of situations, but it's all cartoon, and we're pretty cautious in our house, and we were comfortable with it for ages 10 and up, so just vet it a little bit before you get it if you're concerned about content for your child's age, but it is fantastic. You are solving all these different cases, you're following characters around on the board, and there are 16 cases per box set. There are 3 different box sets that have come out for this so far. There's MicroMacro Crime City and Full House and All In, and they're one-time playthrough for each of the 16 cases, but it takes you a while to go through all of them. We certainly felt like we got our money's worth. I played through the first box with my older son, and my husband got to play through it with our older daughter. And after you're done with it, it's still in perfect condition. You can pass it on to somebody else if you want to, so they can enjoy it. But this is just, we're going through the second box set right now, and this is just the go-to game my older son wants to play with me in the evenings if we have a few minutes. We recently just went through a case where it was the mystery of the soccer brawl, where we had to figure out why did somebody steal the soccer ball, unmask hidden identities and figure out where they went, follow cars, and solve the case. And it went all over the board, and we had an absolute blast doing it together. So this one, fantastic. And there are some free digital options if you want to check it out. There is a free Easter version of this that you can look up online and test out before you buy. Next up, we have Push, which is another family card game that is sure to be a favorite. All you're doing in this game is you're trying to get the most points by the end of the game, and you do that by flipping out cards into up to 3 stacks in the middle of the board. And the only thing is you can't have the same number on a stack or the same color on a stack, or you go bust if you would be forced to play a card out, and that's what would happen. So you're trying to push it so you get enough points, but stop before you go bust. And if you stop in time, you get to collect one of the rows of cards, but then your neighbors each get to get some cards too. So they are very interested in your turn because they might be getting points off of you. However, there is a card that can be played out which has a picture of a die on it. And I fondly call this die the die of doom, because if you collect a stack of cards that has that die card on it, you have to roll the die of doom. And if the color on it matches one of your stacks of cards that you've collected, so if it's red and you have some red cards that you've collected in front of you, you have to discard all of those, losing a bunch of points. Doom. Very bad. So it's so simple, but it's really fun. Kids will sit there and just yell, push, 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 push. As you're playing, people get so excited. Sometimes there's a reasonable amount of luck in this game, so younger kids stand as good of a chance of winning as older kids or adults, but it is just a hoot to play, so fast to get up and running, and just a wide age range can play this game, so it can be a family favorite for forever. And next up, we have Bubble Stories, which is kind of a game, kind of a co-op, choose your own adventure experience geared towards the preschool crowd, in which you have a few different sets of cards that are like different stories, and there's no reading required. You're just flipping over cards, and then you can choose one of the bubbles on the starting card. You choose one of the bubbles to follow, and then from there you get that card, flip it over, and there are often more bubbles to go on. So you can follow through and kind of explore the world, and you're trying to get to the star items that are pictured. You have a start card and an end card, and you're trying to find those star cards, or the star items that will make it so you win the game. But there's not really any way of losing. You can go to a dead end, which is a red card, but sometimes those are kind of fun to see, and kids don't really seem to mind. And so this is one that I thought was going to be kind of a one-time play for my 4-year-old daughter. But even after you've played through once, it turns into a bit of a memory game. Maybe you're trying to avoid going to any dead ends. Do you remember which spot at the fairground you were supposed to go to? And it's interesting to see what they do remember. And even for older kids, I've brought this to one of my board game classes this summer, and older boys that were middle school really enjoyed kind of going through and having this low stress exploratory game where they just got to go through this world and find all the items they were supposed to find, and sometimes there's a correct order in order to do so. So it's just a clever little game which with much more replay value than I originally expected, and it is a delight. And finally, we have First Orchard, which is from my very first games line from Haba. And if you have a young child and are trying to pick out the first game for them to play, this works for 100% of young children. They all love this game. It is a fun cooperative experience where you win and lose together, and it's part toy, it's part game. It has these nice wooden pieces that are different fruits in an orchard, and your goal is to collect all of them before the raven makes it to the gate of the orchard. So it's just really simple. The rules are correct for really young kids, but it's really fun and positive, and you do lose some of the time, but it's nice. They do better with losing if it's a win or lose together scenario, at least at the beginning when they're playing a new game. And it's fast enough that even if you lose, you've played for like 5 minutes. So you just set it up again and try again. So this is just boys, girls, young as 2, but even still, my daughter's 4 and she still really enjoys this game. So it lasts for a while. They have a whole series. Haba does great children's games. But if you're looking just for one to start out with, this would be my pick. So that's it for my top 10 games for any kid. I do have a couple previous lists with this theme from 2022 and 2021 that I still fully stand by. Lots of great choices on those lists. So if you need even more options than this, you can go and check those out. But that's it for me today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time from Game Like a Mother.